guys, welcome back to the Self-Work Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Vundi, a psychiatrist and a wellness enthusiast. Thank you so much for returning. If you're a returning subscriber, if you're new here, welcome. We like to talk about mental health and wellness. Today's episode is really unique. I've never done an episode like this before. This is a dilemma episode. And this episode was inspired by you, those of you who follow me on my social media platforms, especially on Instagram. My handles are Dr_Vundi, for those of you who are not following me. You guys have been sending me some DMs, some pretty heavy DMs. You've been asking me questions. Dr. Vundi, what do I do about this? I'm going through this, what do I do? And to be honest, sometimes I'm not sure how to respond because I don't want you to think it's a consultation, you get? But I just got to the point where I'm like, you know what, clearly you guys want to engage me on that level, so here we are. But I'd like to issue a disclaimer. Even as I do this dilemma episode, this is not a medical consultation. Please don't consider this as though you have seen a psychiatrist or a therapist. If you are going through this particular dilemmas, the people who sent me this, please follow this up with an actual visit to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Let's get right into it. So the first dilemma, should I resign from my current job in the private sector that pays 3 times what I'd be getting in a government job? So I'm guessing your dilemma is, should I stay in the private sector which pays 3 times more than what you'd get in a government job? Now, I feel like this question doesn't have a lot of information because why are you considering quitting? Like, what's wrong with the job that's paying you 3 times more? So I feel like there is more information we need to get. But this is what I'd say. Whenever you're considering resigning a job, there are 3 things I encourage you to do. And I shared this on my Instagram. And I'd like you to use this format if you're thinking about resigning a job. And I used this format myself 3 months ago when I quit a job. So let's just get right into it. I call it the 3 P's of a toxic job, or the 3 P's of resigning. So the first P is perception. Like, you really have to just introspect and ask yourself, why do I want to quit? What are the reasons? Is it my boss? Like, what's going on? Do a total 360 of why you want to quit the job. That's the perception part of it, right? Is it an emotion-led thing, like I'm just tired? Because if you're tired, is it that you need rest? Do you need a break? Do you need to go on leave? Like, think it through and ask yourself this question: why do I want to quit? Why? What's my job like? What has my job become? What are my colleagues like? What do I not like about this job? Am I the toxic person? Am I the toxic employee? You know? So perception. The second P is prioritize. Like, what are your priorities at the moment? Because you know what? Resigning is fantastic. But guess what? Rent is due next week. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Your kids probably needs their school fees paid. So prioritization is super, super important. List your needs. List your needs. I need to pay rent. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to finish my master's. I need to look at your priorities, and your priorities will always guide you. They will tell you, okay, you know what? You're not ready to quit right now, you know? Or your priorities will tell you, actually, you can quit because perhaps you have somebody who pays your rent. Perhaps you have a side hustle that actually is that's supplementing your income. So prioritize. Then the last P is plan. So let's say you've done perception, you've prioritized, and you've realized, okay, I can't quit right now. Plan. Say that, okay, I can quit next year in January after I have saved, after I have gotten rid of my debt, after I have perhaps finished school, my master's. Make a plan. So I want to encourage you guys, please don't quit before you've made a plan. All right? So I hope this helps the person who sent in their dilemma. And I'd also like to say that when you're thinking about resigning, something in you is telling you that you need to move. So trust that gut feeling. I'm not saying you suppress it. Listen to that because it's guiding you somewhere. All right? And even if you don't have all the answers, listen to that voice. That voice is telling you something. All I'm saying is think it through. Don't just jump and then you end up somewhere where you're like broke, without a plan, and stressed out. Second dilemma, tips to improve memory. Now this is memory is a whole topic. In fact, maybe I need to do an episode on memory, but there are a few things that you can do to improve your memory. Disclaimer, this does not include people who have dementia. So dementia, once it has started, you can't reverse it. The only thing you can do is perhaps slow its progression, right? But a few things you can do. Number one is physical exercise. Now research has shown that moderate aerobic activity helps to boost memory over time. So we're not even talking like you become exercising for like 1 hour every day. Even taking a walk is really good for your memory, even long term. So for your parents who are aging, please encourage them to be a bit active. Yeah. Second thing, omega-3 and fish oils. Omega-3 and fish oils, and this I'd like to say is something you need to start taking like yesterday. Your kids need to start taking it, you need to start taking it, your parents, especially people with arthritis. Fish oils are fantastic, but specifically omega-3 has been shown to be very, very good for memory. Something else that's super simple and accessible, sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things when you want to have memory. I don't know if you've ever gone through a period of time where you have exams, and if you're reading so much and you're not getting enough sleep, even the things you read in that last 1 week, you realize you don't remember them as well as the things you read way back. And that tells you that sleep is super, super, super important. In fact, in the physiology of sleep, there's a very big part of how like things in your subconscious are stored in your memory during sleep. So especially if you're reading, you're doing exams, the trick is not to read to sleep for 2 hours trying to cram the whole night. Yeah, you need to sleep. So sleep is super important. The last thing is to challenge your mind. Learn something new. Pick up an instrument. For me, one thing that really helped me with my memory is to teach myself how to edit. Like when you teach yourself a new skill, you're challenging your mind. Crossword puzzles, mental exercises, chess, all those kind of things in the long run help. And even for people who have dementia, those things also help them, kind of keep their mind active. So that's that. Number 3, how do you deal with a toxic employee? Been there, done that. Toxic employee. I'd like to just first of all say that somebody who's toxic, sometimes they don't know that they're being toxic, right? So what I'd like to say is that the first thing is consider bringing it to the attention of this person before you escalate to HR or to the boss or to put a complaint. Consider having a conversation with this toxic person, because sometimes people don't know that they are being toxic, and sometimes you could be the person who helps somebody get out of that situation. So I would say have a conversation with them. But if this toxic co-worker or if this person is like your boss, think twice before you approach them and say, you know what, I think you're toxic. If it's your boss, tread a little bit carefully. Assess your boss. Is it somebody who is open-minded? Because if they are not, if they are a bully, I would say do not confront them, because it could put you in a tight spot. If it's your toxic boss, please look out for an episode that I'm just about to do about toxic bosses, because this request I've been getting it a lot. But yeah, if you have a toxic employee, just talk to them. Just talk to them. I've been in a situation where the previous job I was in, I think I've talked about this before, I really didn't like my job. I was in a place where I felt stuck, and I got to the point where I would always come to work late. I wasn't pulling my weight. And one of my colleagues actually just mentioned to me, it was in passing, it was a bit of a joke, like, hey, you're normally late. And that thing, I was like, oh my God, I didn't expect it, but I was so happy that she mentioned it to me, because then I was like, okay, I need to come into work a little bit earlier because I'm affecting other people. So speak up in kindness and in confidence. The next question, and this is the second last question, is about dealing with getting a no to a lifetime goal. So what I made out of this is that there is a lifetime goal you had and then it didn't end up working out. You didn't end up getting that thing that you wanted. I don't know if it's a job or if a lifetime goal. So I'd like to tell you two things. To anybody watching this who has been disappointed, you had a goal and it didn't come to fruition, or you got a snag, or you hit a bit of a pause in terms of the things that you wanted, you didn't get what you want. I'd like to tell you something. Number one, it's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel bad. So you don't have to immediately pick yourself up and be like, you know what, it's okay, this didn't work out, I need to be positive. It's not always about being positive. Imagine, be angry if you want to, be sad if you want to, all right? Take time to feel your feelings. Secondly, delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. Just because you didn't get it when you thought you would get it or how you thought you'd get it, it doesn't mean it will never happen. So just keep telling yourself that, you know what, delay is not denial, and it will eventually come. And the evidence of this is that the things that you have right now, you used to pray about them before, you used to wish for them and hope for them, and they came to be. So keep looking around at the things that you have as evidence that, you know what, I can get there, it can happen, it's just a matter of time. The last question is really, really heavy. In fact, this one really took a toll on me. I had to take some days to recover, and I'd like to issue a trigger warning. If conversations around sexual assault are a trigger for you, please end this video at this point. There's no need to be triggered. I'll see you on the next episode. But if you're okay continuing, let's deal with this last dilemma. So this person says, how do you forgive your dead father who sexually abused you as a 4-year-old? Heavy. I'd just like to talk about something before we even talk about forgiving this person who abused you. I think the first thing you need to do is just know that you didn't deserve what happened to you, and I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And the priority is to heal. The priority is not to work on forgiveness. The priority is to work on your healing. So I'd like to tell you that the first thing that you need to do is to get into therapy. Take care of you, heal from that trauma. Before you even think about forgiveness of this other person, put yourself first and prioritize yourself, all right? The second thing is that there is no pressure to forgive anybody. The thing is, as Africans, we are conditioned to think that forgiveness has to happen, you know, and if you don't forgive, you're a bad person. And in fact, there's a pressure to demonstrate forgiveness. I have to demonstrate that I have forgiven you by lending out a hand and waving the white flag. The way that I see forgiveness is that it's very, very internal. It's an internal process. So I don't have to show you that I've forgiven anybody. It's for me to arrive at forgiveness, but I don't have to demonstrate forgiveness by saying that, you know, I have forgiven this person. If it is the funeral, you're there at the memorial crying. I don't think you have to demonstrate forgiveness, right? And that's one thing we have to reconcile ourselves with, that forgiveness is for us. It's not for other people. It's not a weapon. It's not something that you weaponize, okay? And it's an option. You have the option to forgive this person or not. I want to tell you that if you don't want to forgive him, you don't have to, and that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't have to be that you forgive them, and if you don't want to forgive them, that's okay too, okay? And the thing about sexual assault is that, especially when it comes from a family member, is it's a very deep betrayal. It's a very, very deep betrayal. And what I'd say is, I don't encourage you to remain angry. I don't encourage you to hold a space in your heart of anger and bitterness and pain, but I want you to try and learn to live with it. Just try and learn to live with it. And these are some of the things that we can teach you in therapy, because there are some coping skills, but you don't have to reach the point of I have forgiven them. And as I wrap up the dilemma episode, I just want to encourage us who are at the point where we know somebody who has been sexually assaulted. I want us to speak to these people and tell them that, you know, there is help out there. You can get healing. Please get into therapy. Let's encourage people to focus on their healing, as opposed to telling them you need to heal by letting them go and forgiving them. Let's not put pressure on people who've been sexually abused to forgive their abusers. Heavy, I know, but it has to be discussed. I really do hope that this episode has resonated with somebody out there, and I will be trying to do these every so often. So if you've got any dilemmas, feel free to reach me on my Instagram, Dr_Vundi. Email, you know where to reach me, guys. You know, comment section. Send me your dilemmas, send me your comments. Let me know what you think about the dilemmas, by the way, in case you have other answers. I'd love to hear from you guys. And that's the end of our dilemma episode, everybody. Thank you so much. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.